soon as I get on mine. Rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You don't like that chair? All right.
I'll give it back.
Approval of agenda.
I make a motion to approve with flexibility if needed.
Then a motion on the floor and a second to approve agenda with a flexibility if needed. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same. Motion carries unanimously.
Who seconded?
Craig.
Thank you.
Minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written, August 5th, 2024.
Second. And a motion on the floor and a second to approve the minutes as written. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same. Motion carries unanimously. Clerk Treasurer's report.
Payroll vouchers totaling $42,525.56. AP vouchers totaling $51,239.
Sorry, was it $42,056?
$525.56.
For payroll. And what was the other one?
$51,239.
Start with the payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll for $42,525.50.
56 cents, wasn't it?
Second.
56. Yeah.
56 cents.
Yes.
That's what I said.
All right, got a motion on the floor and a second to approve the payroll in the amount of $42,525.56. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, do roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Regular vouchers.
Make a motion to approve the $51,239 for the second vouchers.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor and a second to approve the regular vouchers of $51,239. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries. Preliminary budget discussion. In your packet there before you tonight, you see that there's a highlighted section. That highlighted section reflects the 6% increase to the council's payroll for next year. I believe that was the only change that was made in this version.
And remind me, I know we talked about this, so I should know the answer. Did we budget for 2 part-time next year for parks, or was that still 1?
It's still just one. For the seasonal maintenance,
Yeah.
we budgeted just for one. I can change it to 2, but are we putting it all into general, or are we going to make one general and one parks?
That'd be a question for you.
That's
It's
actually
going to be a
for
question
Dirk.
for parks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to go back to parks.
I mean, parks doesn't have the money to float it. We're gonna have, it's gonna come out of our fund no matter what. We're either gonna take more out of our general line item and transfer it over to parks to accommodate it, or, right? Am I wrong in that?
No, you're right.
We'd have to give them a greater appropriation to
I'd
allow.
rather put it in, and if we don't use it or don't need it, and we decide to contract or something different, but if we don't contract, we need to. What's your thoughts on that, Tyler?
I mean, I see the need of one for sure. The second guy, as long as we can keep using Don where he's at, I think we'd be all right. But I would rather, maybe we do
Well, how many hours can one work? If these guys are
right
spending,
at 30 hours.
they're spending 50 to 60 hours between 2 of them a week.
2 part-time guys between Don and another part-time
Well, what's
guy.
your thoughts? You're over there every
Yeah.
week.
I think probably one for each park.
So that'd be Don over here and then one extra.
But Don has been coming over and has been helping out, so maybe if we get to working better with Don, getting him over to Riverside when he's coming over here, then, it might balance out.
And then who, this is totally off the subject, but I just thought of it. So who, do you kind of oversee Don too?
He was pretty much just Cedarville, so.
But I mean, he reports to you, correct?
He reports to Jana, because he's all farm here.
Well, where does his money line come from though? Parks, okay.
But he does come and talk to me, what do we need, what.
Yeah, so, well, he's a nice guy, clearly. I don't know how that laid out when we started talking. Okay.
So I don't know that we need to necessarily budget a full second part-time person at 30 hours, but
What if I up the appropriation, because right now we set it at 30 weeks at $15 an hour, so what if I just up the appropriation like 1.5 times?
that'd be
Yeah.
sufficient.
Okay.
Are you sure we only need one?
Well,
Budgeted for 2 years ago and they disappeared. And we discussed this before, with the town growing and things growing. And we're always talking about how we need those 2 guys doing other things than mowing grass. I wanna make sure that we have other things covered other than the park.
So what is it gonna be, I guess, and I don't know this answer, and I should have done my homework before I got here, maybe you can help us, Derek. When it comes to the trail maintenance, other than, we're responsible for the trail, are we responsible for the right-of-ways out through there, or only in the current non-developed zone? How does that, do you know how that works normally?
Yeah, so you look at your ordinance to find out what your responsibilities are related to the maintenance of the trail. You're certainly responsible for the physical improvements to it over time. I recall when the council first started talking about the trail, there was some discussion about you guys snow plowing
Right.
that
Yep.
trail. I think it ended up being low on the priority list,
Right.
streets first, then downtown, then trail in that order for snow plowing. But it's your easement, I think you guys made a commitment to not only maintain, but also plow that.
So what about like summer mowing, would that
he's like from the trail to the road.
road?
So,
That
So
ditch
it's
line?
so what we did downtown, sorry to interrupt, but just downtown, when we got that done, it was our responsibility to take care of that grass down there. And the weeds that's growing up in the bricks, those type of things, those are our responsibilities.
But we don't mow or maintain, we're not push mowing those small sections in front of the cafe.
We should be, those are our responsibilities.
So are we mowing those, Brent?
Just the little one by the mailbox and one across the street, and about the one from the cafe.
If
Yeah,
it's being
that's
mowed,
ours.
let it be mowed.
And,
If they don't, we take care of it.
when you start talking about now the trail system, you're gonna be talking about that buffer. It's gonna be the same buffer between the trail and the curb. And you're gonna be talking about, snow, which, hopefully we don't get much snow, right? Or ice. It's gonna be our responsibility to take care of those and keep that clean, because it's gonna be used. I mean.
Right.
And, so, obviously, just getting this project going and getting it done, it does not relinquish us for the rest of those
Well, and that was my question when it comes to, like, plowing snow, if that happens a day or so later, it happens a day or so later, it's low on our
Well-
priority list, but,
It is until somebody gets hurt.
Well,
And,
they
and
can
if
fall
we got,
anytime.
and if we got 3 guys, or 3 part-time guys, you can get that covered, and plus you can keep, you're not pushing one guy to his 30-hour limit every week. See what I'm
Right.
thinking?
I think if we go 1.5 and leave the one in the park, that'd give us essentially 2.5 part-time guys for the winter time, and that should suffice
And
us.
if, on the trail, I think it should be our responsibility to trail the curb. But if I lived there, I would cut it because
Sure.
I would want my grass to look nice.
The same time, same mow,
Yeah,
same everything.
yes, absolutely.
Same
I wouldn't want the
fertilizer.
town coming down and
Right.
cutting it.
And that's what I think we're gonna see, is maybe the section in front, well,
Here
Like-
and there, maybe.
yeah, here and there, section down in front of the soccer fields, maybe. I can see that section being ours, but the rest of that stuff, I have a feeling those homeowners are gonna assume that they're gonna mow it and maintain it as if it's their own. Which I don't have a problem with. I mean, it's only saving our guys' time, as long as they don't think they own it at the end of the day.
Well, we didn't have one this year. I'd like to see two, but if if we can at least get one good employee.
I'd say if we up the appropriation by 1.5, that ought to suffice.
Yeah, because I think at 15 is a little low, but I know we gotta start somewhere.
Right. So,
Okay, that's the only question I have.
Don only works till October or something like that, he's done, right? So,
does he go to Florida then, or does he just not want to work anymore?
He goes to Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Well, it goes the wrong way.
Whatever.
So we're thinking in the realms of only 1.5 people, not 2.
Well, we'll have Don, and then we'll have we're creating an extra part-time position, which we're hiring right now. We have the request out, and that person would stay on. And then we're gonna up the appropriation to maybe grab a few more hours from hopefully watering help and that kind of thing.
Okay. Well,
all depends what departments you get into, mulch, plants, and
Right. Which at that point, I think it needs to fall back onto the Parks Department. If they wanna have more help in the parks, then I don't know that we,
I'm not against that either.
I don't know that we need to be funding. We're gonna fund it one way or another, I guess, but I would rather have them vote and say they want it versus us saying they need it. I mean, I think that's the way it should roll. The other thing we talked about is, just briefly over the last week and a half is, life insurance. And you said it was fairly inexpensive to add to our policy, which was, I think, was it $11 a person who wants to accept it, I think?
And it's fairly inexpensive.
Yeah.
It's really inexpensive.
But that's not reflected within this budget, correct?
Actually, it is.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, I had already added it
Okay.
as part of the insurance package.
Okay, yeah, so as long as it's there, I'm good. I just wanna make sure it's a line item.
Okay, yep.
Alright, I just didn't see it as a separate.
Imagine all.
Is it-
Speaking of insurance, we did get our renewal rates, which are 0%.
Okay, awesome,
Our insurance is not increasing.
awesome.
And so, just recapping, just for myself. New trucks in there, correct? And then we had insurance for council, then does that also include the life insurance? Is
Yes.
that- Okay.
Yeah,
And
all
then
in there.
there's a few, in the building across the street, we're trying to get it insulated done yet this year, but next year would be the sewer line, I think, am I correct?
That would be planned, but I don't know that we have that in our budget line.
I can add that.
I thought that's what we were doing, the 90 or 72, 92, low pressure, that you
that was
come
part
up
of
with.
the ARPA fund we were using up, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't?
No,
Oh,
no, I know, I thought that was
No,
for
but we
next
haven't
year.
exceeded.
And-
That was part of that discussion.
Oh, okay.
We
So we
haven't-
haven't seen it, we just haven't
we
appropriated it.
Right, we haven't exceeded.
Okay.
Do we wanna pull it over as an appropriation line? That way
I
we don't
just
have,
wrote it down.
okay.
So I can, I'll just
Okay.
make sure it's on there.
Just make sure it reflects whatever
then,
that estimate was.
Was there any else capital improvement that we were
Low
looking
ball
at?
or wide angle estimate. So-
Just the potential to bring money together to purchase buildings as they become available.
Gotcha. That
Again,
makes
we
sense.
have that money in seed already, it just
okay.
has to be appropriated.
I'm
So I
just
can
trying to
create
recap so we don't,
So do we wanna move 300,000 out of seed it to do that, to be able to purchase some of those buildings down there? I don't know if that's even gonna touch it or not.
next meeting I'll have an answer for that.
Well, next meeting is probably getting close to our budget hearing.
That's okay, September 17th is when I have to have everything on paper.
I actually thought he was
10
gonna be
days
there.
after
He
that
asked
to
me to
adopt, so.
Okay. Sorry about that.
All right, welcome.
Off today.
We're talking about budget,
Yeah.
recapping budget, Randy.
Okay. So.
I was just trying to think of the capital improvement side, that's it then.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else?
I'm sure Brent will need something next year, can you think
I'm sure
ahead?
you will too.
You said that one.
Every day.
I got one. All right. Anything else on the preliminary budget discussion? All right. Cedar Creek Pay app.
Again.
Trail Pay app. Slow it down and say it right.
So this is a progress payment request from Fleming for work in progress, $112,098.52.
Nothing's done yet.
This payment is a little bit less than what they submitted, and what I did was I pulled out the stuff that hasn't been Not a big deal, they'll catch up with it with their next payment. So with that, they're out there working, they're putting the stone down. The plan hopefully is to pave on Monday.
Starting out on Hardesty
Halter.
or Alder, I mean?
Well, I think we had instructed them, we wanted them to start as far east as we could and work their way west, but
That's for the concrete portion right down in front of, so they're probably gonna start,
So they won't pave that.
yeah, we would like them to cap Halter as soon as possible, because that is where the ground is softest.
yeah, so you wanna get it
So,
green
yeah,
ready.
like with it,
I don't have a problem if they're paved, cause isn't that section down here, other than the section at Lightfoot's,
you know,
that parking lot, isn't that concrete coming up along there?
it is, yeah. And
So,
the work at Lightfoot's is scheduled for, I think, we'll move on the 20th, and
22nd.
then the 22nd is when we'll start
milling.
pulling stuff up.
So, I think the paving, the last time Keegan was here, didn't he say that they were gonna start at Halter and Hirsch and pave into town?
Yeah, now that you say that, I think, yeah, that's right, because they're waiting. So Milestone is out there staking for the curbs as we speak to do the concrete work.
Yep. I saw they dropped their curb.
Based on our revised schedule, they seem to be on track.
Did we get that cable taken care of out there while we're in this subject line that was,
I'll follow up
okay.
on that.
If we could get it buried, it'd save me another phone call.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Alright, so looking for $112,098.52 to be approved for the payout.
Also make the motion.
Is that a motion on the floor? Is there a second for the $112,98?
Second that.
Got a motion on the floor and a second. We'll do roll call. Sorry, is there any further discussion? We'll do roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Brian? And I'm an aye as well. It's good to see it moving.
Yes.
I agree.
Alright, while you're up there, we'll just go ahead and jump down to the NDOT Amstutz Road section there.
Yeah, so everybody seems to be progressing according to the latest schedules. Some things will go a little bit quicker, some things go a little bit slower, but in general, they seem to be keeping with the original intention. So given that the utilities are getting out of the way, we're down to on Amstutz, we're waiting for Comcast to get out of the way on the east side of the road. And they're scheduled to be out here day after tomorrow to finish. So the good news is Frontier is done and out, which was really holding a lot of stuff up. So.
When is, just for people listening, when are we looking at the trail along Hostler to possibly be completed?
Completed, so I would just say substantially complete in the next 4 to 6 weeks.
So from Amstutz, there's two schedules. From Amstutz west, when do you think we're gonna, I've seen the schedule, just for Greg. When
It
do
should
you
be
think
paved.
that's?
If everything goes well next week, and the next week, the pavement should be done.
So if that gets opened up, that'll
And then
help.
open that road up?
That'll help big
Yes.
time.
Okay.
They're cutting grade, I mean, when I came by earlier, they were cutting grade out there for ditch banks and getting things, looked like they were trying to get things as ready as they could, so after the pavement was in, that they could just go ahead and finish it off and get it wrapped up. So I think the goal was right around the Labor Day weekend possibly, if the weather holds correctly for that section. And then equally coming from State Road 1, that following week after Labor Day, potentially it could be open from State Road 1 to Wayne, both directions.
Oh, that's great.
So that middle section, they got structures to put in, and there's a lot more work to do in that middle section than just ripping the concrete out and going back in. So, but that roughly accurate, weather dependent? Okay.
Just one thing for the trail, I've gotten a couple complaints from multi-rose residents, soccer nights, people cutting through there, coming around and going into the soccer field. Didn't know I don't know if we had gotten if we have any speed bump left, or, cause I know that a couple been put in places. If we had that one that got stolen at Pioneer Village, we would have.
Yeah, we would have, we would have had to order the other 6.
Yeah.
So we'll know where Andrew will be on Saturday morning, is what you said?
So just so everybody knows, multi-rose is getting
I'm sure they're getting hammered.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, so hopefully in the next 2.5 weeks, that'll be open from Amstead's on. That will help big time.
They really got
Additions.
another hard week of soccer, unfortunately, and then hopefully we can start opening things
Yeah.
up.
So maybe our local police officer could do some
Extra rounding.
extra rounds over
I
there.
already have it spread pretty thin.
There you go. See?
He's a step ahead of you.
That's my
Yeah.
man right there.
He knew what was coming. Any other questions for Derek before he sits down? I think we're making good headway, so thanks. ARPA funds, remaining funds to stormwater. So remaining balance is 36,430.67. I believe that the stormwater was 25,000. Is that accurate, Derek?
For what,
Stormwater, sorry. The stormwater projects that we had allotted
to
money for.
allocate ARPA money?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think with the projects that are in the works right now, it'll be close to being able to spend all that money.
all of 36 and change.
Yeah, because the Grable Road Inlet, that's like a $5,000 to $7,000 project. Riverdale is probably gonna be in the 15 to 20.
Okay.
And that's the bulk of the stormwater expenses.
So we're gonna be right at 30 anyhow, so we can probably appropriate all that money over to it. You think? Because we don't even know what we're getting into in Riverdale. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, so my concerns I mentioned before is that if you don't spend it, you have to give it back.
Right.
So it's almost like you don't want to fund the whole thing, you kind of want to fund 80% of it, so that you feel confident you're going to spend all that money and not have to give it back, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So if we're kind of, if you agree with that logic, we're kind of overfunded on the stormwater stuff with the ARP. So either we come up with another stormwater project, or consider maybe taking 5,000 to 10,000 of that and allocating it to something else.
So I was gonna bring up cause Brent hit me up on the salt pad.
Right.
I didn't know some of that could go there.
To move it.
I don't know the rules well enough. Can the salt pad be covered out of ARPA? Probably not.
I would say probably not.
On the salt pad?
Right.
Should be able to, we can, I know that, your attorney's put together an opinion of what the money can be spent on. It's pretty much anything municipal related.
Okay.
Maybe I should get that opinion.
I would, yeah, I don't have it.
Well, won't we appropriate tonight and just leave?
Oh, okay, I was like, I haven't seen it, yeah. I guess I thought it was
Oh,
all.
when they did? Okay, I was like, I've never seen that document, so.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago.
Okay.
They put together.
Don't scare me like that, like I missed something in
Yeah,
the
no,
last.
I know, I was like, oh,
yeah,
I missed them.
everybody's thoughts and stuff.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, we fund 25,000 into that. That would cover us at, let's say, 90% of stormwater, and then
Yeah, because we got this Michael Drive inlet that we can add to that.
right.
I feel probably more comfortable with 20. I don't want to shortchange the storm, but I want to make sure the money's spent. So
Right.
the money's not getting back.
So you're saying let's fund 20,000 to,
And we can
To stormwater.
still, reallocate. It's still August.
Yep.
We're not there yet.
No, we're not
If
there.
they get into some
It's
kind of
just
mess.
December, rubber hits the pavement and you can't go back.
Yeah.
right.
So
If they get into
we have
that.
to, obviously between now and December, fund.
How much was the salt pad?
6,000.
Well, it's probably up now.
So, based off of,
I'll make a motion to approve $20,000 of ARPA money over to stormwater to help fund the projects.
I'll second it.
got a motion on the floor and a second to spend, or to move $20,000 of ARPA money over to fund stormwater projects. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll do roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. So that'll leave 16,430.67 that we have to find a way to spend. Sounds like a horrible problem.
Brentwell, don't worry.
Done.
Now, your emergency repair on Grable Road would qualify if you want to.
Yeah, so we could do
That
that.
was the other thing I was thinking of, is because we still don't have the.
We don't have a
bill
curb.
from Brian yet.
Yeah.
either.
Okay.
And we still gotta pave it and put the concrete back in.
I think me and Brent can put the concrete in.
We're gonna take care of Michael Drive, so we're gonna be able to fix that.
Alright. Salary ordinance. Ordinance 2024-07.
This would be considered the second reading with the amended changes.
With the increases, right?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-07.
Got a motion on the floor. Greg seconds. To approve ordinance 2024-07, salary ordinance for elected and town employees. Any further discussion? Hearing none, do roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Andy? Brian?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Motion carries. iPad upgrades. So in the last meeting, we discussed, approved the purchase of computers, which I got an email out to our IT guy to send us the specs over to make sure we buy the right thing. I gotta follow up with him this week, but then through that meeting, we realized that we didn't have a clear path to purchase the iPads. We suggested that Ben recommend a few, which he did. And then that's kind of where it ended. We didn't actually necessarily 100% approve them. So in front of you are the two options, 1057 with the Wi-Fi and the Apple Pencil for 2 years. iPad, that's 11 inch. The 13 inch is 1277. If you don't need a cellular option, blah, blah, blah. My recommendation is that we probably don't need a cellular option. I don't foresee a reason to add that. We don't pay for cell cards on them now. So,
I typically just get into the Wi-Fi at the hotels or the conferences and stuff, so.
so yeah, that's,
And does your phone have that option to,
I have my personal hotspot
Well, but-
that I take with me.
does the town system allow us to do hotspots?
Yes and no, we get limited on it, so
Okay.
I usually just use my personal hotspot.
So if we have a situation out here in the town where, you know, we're out there and we need our iPads, for storm damage or some other, you know, catastrophe out there or an event or whatever, we're not gonna be able to use them outside of,
well, they won't have internet access, but you want to take photos, videos, or
right.
whatever else like you
The
can.
trouble,
We
we
just
have
won't
to,
be able to pull things up.
Yeah.
yeah, the issue is we're gonna have to add cell plan, which then changes the ballpark of what we're gonna do. If we had to sell to these, we got a monthly charge of $10 a month, and
Or
Right.
more.
for an iPad that, I mean, the old town manager rarely, I don't think, the only time we really used it was recording minutes.
$10 a month per person,
I would,
per unit.
I'm guessing that's what it is. That's what it,
I would
20?
guess.
Is it 20
I see,
now?
I would
don't
guess
know.
more than that.
It's been a long time
Yeah.
since I priced it, so
Yeah.
let's say, be safe 30 for unlimited everything. So, per device, so that's.
Well, it'd be better to put it on a phone.
6 times 30, or is Brent getting one too? Brent
It
getting
would
one?
make it nice for me because there's no internet over the barn.
So you could do one with internet or one with cell coverage.
Or
I
at
mean,
least have my laptop.
How long is it gonna be before we get internet?
I forgot
or
about
up
that.
there? We always talked about that for security reasons.
there's nothing over there that, well, there is. We'd have to get a third party. It's not, the place that what supplies our internet here is not over there yet.
Okay.
So,
It's probably not much over there. I mean, it's just parking field.
yeah. I mean, it has to be pulled in, whatever it is, so. I don't know what you guys have in your neighborhood there.
Xfinity.
So that'd be the only thing that'd be close that I know of,
Well, imagine the house right beside it there's got it.
I would think.
Probably Mediacom.
Everything's gonna have to come off of Grable Road and.
Yeah.
come up Just like the power did.
You don't think there's on Schwartz right there?
So here, why don't we do this so we don't get tied up into this too long? My recommendation is that we purchase 3 iPad 11s as written for 1057 here. And then we can decide what's
Yeah.
best for who needs
Well,
what.
what's our phone plan with here?
Verizon, I believe.
So they got that hotspot right now and it works great. You just plug it in. If you Verizon phone works, you have internet hotspot. That way, right now it's on sale for $35 a month. That'd be cheaper and easier to put over there for everybody, Chris, him,
Right.
whoever to use if we get to that point.
Which we can, I think we need to investigate that to make sure
For
we
sure.
understand the long-term cost of it, but
Yeah, because I have to purchase it through the our government.
government account,
Verizon
which I'm
account.
assuming is probably even less than what
So
you're
it's
seeing.
probably less than that.
Yeah, well, I have a business account with them and that's what they're advertising right
Right.
now. So I'm sure it'd be cheaper than that. And that's a pretty fair deal. And I trialed it. It's quick. It's not quite as fast as my Xfinity, but pretty dang close.
So do we want to purchase 3 iPads at 1,057? That would be the 11 inches, what you essentially have right there, right?
Sure. Because I have no idea how big it is.
I think it's
just use
11.
it.
The 13 gets obnoxious. It's like the size of this
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, you would want that thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not saying.
Actually, I don't even need an iPad, to be honest with you, just the tablet or the laptop.
Yeah, the hotspot. Well,
Laptop.
yeah, if we get him a hotspot, he can take his computer over there.
There.
Yeah, we're using off the phone like this.
So how many we need?
Well,
We need,
1, 2, 3. You
Three.
still need 3 because Janet.
yeah.
What's Janet doing on that
I'm
iPad?
gonna get all of her forms made electronic so she can do them on.
Sign them all digital is our end goal.
Can we get a webcam put up in there during this?
No.
You're right.
Just asking,
So
for a friend.
iPad Air 11, 256 storage, cellular and Wi-Fi. And if we decide we don't want cell on them, we can always back that out.
Right.
But I would go to the high side, knowing that the cost was probably going to come below that. I don't think we need to sell on all of them personally, but
How much is it per iPad?
1057.
I'll make a motion, we buy 3 iPads up to 1,057. And you guys investigate the cellular plan as needed.
I second that.
Got a motion on the floor and a second to purchase 3 iPad Air 11s at the price of 1,057 each. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Motion carries. Okay. So before you is a New Allen, or Alliance update, as part of the bicentennial, event this fall, which the town of Leo-Cedarville is getting, an art piece as related to that. We did have a high-level overview look at it, about a week and a half ago. Actually, I'm super excited about it coming. I really like it. It's really neat for our community. And with that being said, that they have an event here in town, on November 16th. There's 2 different options. One option is we can put a table out in the rotunda and everybody comes in, we can advertise our town. The other option is to purchase a table that seats 10 of us, and then it comes with the meal and so forth. So if we purchase a table, it's $1,000 for an entire table. I'm trying to figure out where. I don't know that there was anything to just have your booth, or have a booth displayed in the lobby. So that booth in the lobby is really just a town booth to highlight what's going on within your community. It's not necessarily for, the cafe or the candle shop to peddle their goods. It's more about just highlighting a general overview of what's going on in your community, or the stuff going on in your community. So, if nonetheless, I'm gonna probably at least get a couple tickets for my wife and I to go. I think it'd be wise for us to have some representation there. I really think it'd be wise that, with us being a host for this bicentennial art project, that we would approve $1,000, and then we decide, who's gonna go. Probably, the presidents of your boards would probably be the wisest. Or we can backfill it as needed with, if somebody doesn't wanna go, with councilmen or, employees. But really just, sounds like it's gonna be a good time, celebrating our history and, the bicentennial, of Allen County. So, like I said, it's $1,000 for a table. I don't know what the promotional benefits are, other than the fact that it probably say Leo-Cedarville. But that would be my recommendation, that since we're hosting a piece of art, that we probably have a presence at it. So. I would entertain a motion to do none of the above, all the above. If we don't want to do any of it, then I'm fine with that too.
I'll make a motion to approve $1,000 to buy a table, for seating of 10.
I'd second that.
Got a motion on the floor and second to purchase a table at the bicentennial event. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Do roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Andy? Brian?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. And as you guys read through that document, you're gonna see my name pop up in there. I did have a conversation with New Allen Alliance, 2 weeks ago or so. They're still trying to get their executive director position through. And it sounds like that's changed some from when it was initially presented to us. And they were just waiting for some general answers from us. So they're going back to the drawing table. They're gonna put it back together, put together a new presentation and bring it out to us. I think that this new presentation is going to create some rigidity in the position and hopefully some safety for future movement. They have some great ideas, but we just need to get, the position needs to be created correctly. So, kind of gave the input from the meeting they were here, which I think was last fall maybe. What I remembered of that conversation, and then they're gonna actually jot those notes down and move forward with it. So look for them this fall to come with another presentation, and asking for funding or help in funding, so. Stormwater rate and study quotes, Angela.
I sent out requests to Thurber Pratt, Baker Tilly, Furman Associates, and London Witt for time and material quotes to do a stormwater rate study. I only got responses from Baker Tilly, Furman Associates, and Furman Associates, is nearly half the cost of what Baker Tilly quoted us. If you look at the rate pages, so I guess we just have to decide if we want to engage with them, and if so, we'll need to sign a contract to get them moving forward. The rate page is exhibit B for Chrome, and it's like near the back for Baker Tilly. So it's actually the second page to the last on the Baker Tilly one.
So what exhibit was it, the rate page? Oh, there it is.
Here.
Exhibit B. And it's not as a full package, right? It's all done.
It's all time and material, yep.
Okay.
Holy moly.
And Cronin Associates has done something similar to this with us before,
They've
correct?
done work with the stormwater utility, it could be that their familiarity is the reason why they're more efficient.
Okay. Big time recommended, Derek.
So the rate study is anticipated to be a cost of $5,500. So, that's what Cronin says here in exhibit B. And does this fund out of ours?
There's funds in stormwater to
Okay.
cover this.
do they need to vote on this to approve it, or do we need to?
They already voted, well, they didn't vote on the actual packet, so probably, yeah, we'll probably need to vote on it.
Do we need to get a additional meeting set up for them to do that before, do we need to wait another 30 days? Because it literally just happened last,
Can't probably wait for their next meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, can we call a special meeting for them to do this, or is it not that important, I guess?
I can ask them, I don't think the rate will change.
Okay. 'Cause a lot of these are like 30-day guarantees or
I can
whatever.
email the gentleman that I was working with and
Okay.
just ask
Well.
him. If so, we'll just have them call a special meeting.
No, it says that however, the rates above will not be changed prior to December 31st, 2024, so
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
we're,
it seems like we have a problem, we need to wait 30 days.
okay. I just didn't know if there was something we were doing that needed to speed this up in-house, I guess.
Was their goal, that they wanted to implement the rate change?
It doesn't matter, I mean, even if they started today, it won't take effect until 2026.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Alright, so as far as this goes, we'll let it go to them first. I mean, I'd be okay with entertaining a motion that we rubber stamp whatever this, I mean, I would think that Stormwater Board's gonna approve the lower cost, that only makes sense, but it's up to you guys. Or we can wait till it comes back, I'm fine with that too.
I think we should wait till it comes back. I don't want to overstep like I like to do.
That would be perfect.
Alright, AIM Idea Summit.
In your packets is the annual AIM Idea Summit, and it's actually being held in Fort Wayne this year. This is the conference that I went to last year, that was down in French Lick, that I came back and told all you guys you should probably go to.
Well, we don't have much of an excuse now, do we?
I know, right?
Thank you for that.
So, here's all the information, you guys want to go.
I'll sign.
I do, want to attend again as well, especially since it's local.
So we're 3:45 right now, is that right?
Yeah,
For the entire conference?
that's for the entire conference.
Thursday looks like a great day.
Oh, I like Monday. You know, the next day.
Yeah.
It's just dinner.
Just dinner? So, is there interest, we'll have our next meeting prior to the next deadline, so if you guys would like to check your, so the after date's 9/13, right? So we would have a meeting in 2 weeks, yeah, whatever that date is. It's on our sheet.
September 3rd.
Yeah. So, we could essentially process this at that point. So just take it and, file it as information. And figure out if you guys got room in your schedules to go.
It's just dinner.
It's just dinner. Maintenance barn quotes. Brian, or sorry, Brent?
So a salt pad, is that what you?
Yes, I believe so.
Brian Myers did quote that, this is 6,800. He comes in up 3, low and high.
You said who did? Who quoted it?
He did, I'm not sure what happened to his quote.
So Crystal Creek Concrete's 5,400. Creative Design 65, and then you said Myers was what?
68.
And then Dean's was 13.
13.6.
And JJL Construction was 690. So $5,400 of Crystal Creek Concrete.
How, I mean,
Do we want to wait to figure out what's, I mean, the ARPA funds, do we want to spend?
yeah, and I think that we need to get Brian's quote back and I know Brian's done a lot of work for the town. I think his work is quality. I'd let him do work for my place if I needed it. But, do you have thoughts on anything?
I would go with the lowest one, you're not gonna see it.
Well, but my worry is 5 years from now, are we gonna see issues with concrete?
Bars, 2
I mean, it
foot.
looks like Crystal Creek's 4 inch, you got creative design at 5 inch. So I mean, there's some differences.
What do we need for that block? I don't even know, does that block weigh a bunch?
I'm not sure what that weighs, but you thicken the edges up a little bit. That's what they're all gonna do, so you 4 in the center and then thicken your edges where that blocks it.
So they're gonna pour like a footer around the edge a little thicker?
Just thicker.
So Dean's is doing 6 inch all the way
Yeah,
through, so that's
so-
why he's so much higher.
so higher.
And I think he included some stone, and from recycling where the recycle center was, I got a bunch of tubes and for the subgrade. So he included that in on it, which he said he would subtract, needed.
12 by 16
If you wanna
approach.
keep them apples to apples, you probably have Crystal Creek rebid at 5. Looks like the Cabela's is at 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think if you go to 5, you're gonna see that difference.
Yeah. Or we decide we want 4, 5, 6.
Is salt, I mean. is
I-
Most of your
heavy
roads
too.
are 6.
I was gonna say,
I think it's your overkill if you go any more than 4.5.
I would say 5 and then a thickened edge to support those blocks, or are those blocks sitting on the edge outside?
They are.
They sit on the edge of the concrete,
Now there's nothing now, so they're on the ground, but they will sit out the edge of it.
and then you'll have to berm that, right, with
Right.
dirt.
Or seal it of some sort and put it back together, put some watertight sealant or something on the bottom of the blocks.
I know when we built, I've had one built for us, and they set the block on the edge and buried the block like, I don't know, a foot in the dirt to create your, and then they poured the concrete inside of that,
That-
5 inches or 6s, and then that way, that salt cannot escape easily. So that's probably what almost I would recommend we do, which is obviously change the size of your pad just a little bit, right?
Well, and the thickness on the edges too, so it's
Right.
gonna change everything.
So I think I'd go back and have it all quoted at 5 inch. Not that I want to prolong this project any more than it is, Brent, but I think I'd like to see it all quoted at 5 inch personally, and then have those blocks, plan on sinking those blocks in along the edge, like a foot to create, and then still put your berm on the outside to keep that salt contained.
Are they putting the blocks in then, or is that?
Probably we will.
We were gonna move it.
Oh,
I think Lee might included moving that in his price.
Yeah, so if we can get them apples to apples, and that way we're sure that we're looking at the same thing, I think that would be great.
I guess we just come up with the detail and then show everybody.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, we can just be a simple drawing, it doesn't need to be.
I
Sorry.
mean, I don't care who does it. If you want, you know, Brian,
I don't care who does it, I'm just saying, I think we need to make sure we're quoting the exact same thing across. I noticed that even the rebar
Right.
is different. One is 2 foot on center, one is 16 on center, which means you got more metal in it, which,
yeah, well, you ask the contractors what they think, and that's where you get, so.
yeah, I think we need to,
One's a heavier mat, you know, so you
Right.
use the heavier mat and
we
rebar.
set that even too, you're right.
yeah, I mean, I think I wanna see, we wanna make sure we're getting the best product for the most dollars, right? So, I mean, and looking at this, Crystal Creek is definitely the cheapest, but when you start looking at what some of these other guys are doing, you might see the difference in the price flux, I guess. So, my suggestion would be is that we go back and we get everybody on the same page. Maybe we create just a small detail that we want that inset and go from there.
And is that block what we want? I mean.
I don't have a-
everybody uses timbers soaked in creosote, build a
I don't know that
salt mill.
I mean, we own the block already, that's the hard part. We don't own the timbers.
Right,
So, I mean, ideally, and we can replace those block fairly inexpensively. Cause they use them as overpour at the concrete places. So if we need to replace some or make it a little taller, you know, we can get those for not too bad of
that
a
is an
price.
issue getting in there with a bobcat.
Yeah, so you can
Put
go
the
another
salt
block,
back in there.
you
So
know,
it really does make it go taller.
So then now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
And whatever you need.
like I said, I'd like to see it put together as one solid quote, you know, if we need to go 2 blocks
Frame
taller.
Something on the top we
Yeah.
can make it.
So maybe we call Grable Trust and, not that I'm, wanna blow this project into something at $35,000, but at the same point, I think a little bit of work here might help us. So. And as long as we're compliant, I think we're good, in my opinion. Anybody else have anything?
Nope. Do it right.
City of Fort Wayne IDIM grant. So, the City of Fort Wayne contacted me, last week or 2 weeks ago. It actually might have been the day of our last meeting originally, and then they followed up with us. So, IDIM is going for a grant. They're going for a 319 grant, which 319 funding requires 40% match of for project's costs. I asked them in a phone call kind of what their target number is. They're trying to get all the communities on board, so it kind of makes it interesting. But they're saying that our 40% match could be like if we're hosting, if we have a meeting out here and we need to host space, well, we can deduct that off the 40% match. At this point, the question is in front of us, their thought process is the more people you get into the IDIM grant, the better chances the community has at getting it. So they're trying to get all the community to sign on board. They said it does have the option of changing from a 319 to, and I can't remember the number she gave me, but it's basically a non-matching grant. If we achieve or require a certain level, then it will go from a matching grant to a non-matching grant. So I want to put it in front of you guys tonight. The trouble is a 40% match for project's costs. At this point, I don't even know if they have a rough number on what that 40% match could be. Is it $100,000 for us, or is it $1 million for this area? I don't know what that number is, and that's the scary part. But do we want to go in with them on the grant as kind of all of Allen County and the city of Fort Wayne and try to get this big grant, or do we not want to do that?
How do you figure out what that cost would be?
Well, so it's gonna be based on whatever the grant is at the end of the day, so that's the hard part. If they ask for $10 million, then, 40% is 400, and then based on whatever amount is coming to this area would be our portion.
Yeah.
So we might only be getting 40,000, that's we go 4,000, which is easily to do, because when we hold a meeting, we can say, okay, it costs roughly this much for us to have this space. Or, they said actually a lot of people pay for it by putting somebody on a steering committee. So if you place someone, all that salary can go to that. So that person's salary for the steering committee can, at that time, can go against the grant. So you don't have to physically necessarily pay for it out of dollars. There's other ways to pay for it in participating, being a participating member in the grant, but when I asked her how much are you going for, she said it depends on how many people sign on, right? So, it's kind of a fluctuating number.
Yeah.
So. I don't see, I'm just making sure. Yeah, I don't see anything. Dollars wise. So, is that something we want to endeavor on? They gotta know, I gotta basically respond back tonight whether we're interested or not.
So, if we're interested and it's a large number, we're stuck with that? We're committed then? That's my worry is, they come back and
Say, oh yeah.
we gotta choke up 200,000 or 300,000
Right.
that we're not prepared to do. I don't like the idea of that at all.
So,
I would say, could we say, hey, we're in up to X amount?
yeah, I think we can do that, or I think we could say that, you can't, yeah. I asked her a whole host of questions when it comes to dollars and cents, and there wasn't real clear. I think were you
Yeah,
catching on that?
I was on that phone call, that's why I kinda know about it, but the cap is what,
Yeah, I had to be worried, you're right? 'Cause,
yeah.
have you ever seen anything like this before, Derek, in your years?
I apologize, but what is a 319 grant? What does it cover?
Item 3, would you like to read my paperwork? Would that help you? Yeah.
It's not uncommon with grants that the more people you can have participate, the more likely you are to receive funding.
Oh, absolutely.
I was curious what the funding is used for.
So it's for the rewrite of the Lower St. Joseph Watershed Management Plan Assessment and Education Program.
I see. It's environmental outreach, so unless they plan on doing a project on the St. George River watershed, this is just educational stuff, I wouldn't imagine expenses to be
Substantial.
significant.
Okay.
And the 40% would probably apply to everybody collectively, I would think.
It is, yes.
Okay.
So it's like I said, if you get a, $4 million grant, you're gonna owe, the whole collective group is gonna owe 400,000, and I'm sure it's based on your square, I don't know if it's based on your population or your square footage that you have or miles that you have in that shed. I don't know how they figure that either.
We can send Andrew down, account for work off some money.
Yeah. So,
Education and outreach, planning grant. SWOT analysis, land use, windshield assessment. This is field work in the plan. So, the St. Joe watershed is obviously it's an important watershed to the community, including Leo-Cedarville. And investing in it certainly is reasonable and makes sense. And by sharing the expense over lots of people is a great idea. But I do understand, obviously, you kind of want to know what your financial commitment is. So usually when these kinds of things come up, Allen County and the city of Fort Wayne kind of carry the lion's share, and they just try to get as much participation as they can.
yeah, and I think that's why she said, hey, basically she said, if you guys send somebody to the steering committee and maybe help us with a room or two,
Yeah.
that normally covers your share, is what she kind of alluded to.
Yeah.
Brian's got some time.
You back to work. I'll talk to you later.
Not talk later, yeah.
So, I think it's a good thing. I just don't know cost-wise what it could hook us for. And I don't think they know until they get the grant, right? So,
Yeah, so you could say we're interested in participating, we just can't commit to a dollar amount right
Yeah.
now until we know what
yeah,
it
so
is.
if you guys are good with that.
I'm definitely good with that.
If we can do that, yeah, I'm in.
So, motion?
I make a motion so that we commit and up to the dollar amount once we get to that point. We definitely
This
support
could
it.
probably just be a general consensus. We're not spending money.
Tim said that, so I talked to Tim Mangus about general consensus, and he would prefer us, if we have the ability to create a motion, we create a motion for it.
We're not committing the money, so
So, you made a motion?
I did.
Got a motion on the floor.
I'd second that.
Second it? All right, so got a motion on the floor and a second to join in the initiative without committing a dollar amount at this point. Any further? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. All right, in front of you, carpet installation and kitchen upgrade / vent clean out. Do we have the other bid? Did I lose the other bid? All I have is the Menards bid in front of me. Do you guys have two bids? All right, I don't have that
I
bid.
got Chris Graber right here.
Okay. I probably lost it, my bad.
That's all right, it's right there.
So,
Sorry, but I have 5 copies of it.
so Menards, see it broke out, it's 360620. So, for those of you who don't know, obviously water damage destroyed our cabinets. We don't have a kitchenette right now. So they went to Menards, had one designed out, 3606, and I don't know. Yeah, that includes the countertop and everything. So, and then she went to Chris Graber over here. So $3,600 for the cabinets, and then roughly another $600 for installation. So total package is $4,200 finished. And they're solid. So, I don't care which way we go. I'm assuming that,
The ones from Menards are unstained. So
yeah, you're gonna have to stain them, right? And you guys have to hang those?
we could put them in.
But the ones Chris is doing, that includes him putting those in. Yeah. So we're 3606 before they get put in and stained on the Menards ones.
But you get particle board from.
Right.
Yeah. Great,
That's the full 4,200 finish, so it's 3,600 plus 600. So 4,200 finish for Chris Graber. And this will bring us back to where we were at. We still got a bill coming in for the water restoration, and then we have a little bit of drywall work to finish, and insulation to finish up. So,
So are we installing them then?
no, that'd be Chris, I would have him install it.
Okay.
That's done, over with. Personal.
I'm almost a professional,
Are you? Staying on holiday in last night?
just saying.
Hey Scott, we'll talk about that later too.
I'll make a motion to approve Chris Graber $4,200 finished, completed for the cabinets, for the
Kitchenette.
replacement.
I'll second.
Brian seconds that. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Andy? Brian? And I as well. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and jump down to the Billy Goat blower while we're in the spirit of spending money here, and then we'll jump back up to Cedar Creek Township. So at the park board meeting the other night, they brought up the purchasing a push blower for Cedarville Park. The park board, the quote they had in front of them at that time was $2,700. They approved the $2,700. Since then, as we got to looking at it, we realized that there was probably some modifications to that we'd want, like self-propelled, a swivel wheel for the front, so that way it's easy to turn on hard pavement in the yard. The total, so I called around, I got a quote from Crescent Avenue Gardens. We looked online at the same thing. Actually, they were, for the self-propelled, they're only $100 more, but when you added the wheel, the swivel wheel kit, it added another $300 to it, $341 to it. So the total number now is $3,141. The ask is that we as a town council pick up $441, as it'll be used to blow off our trails, some of our
Does
stuff.
everybody know what it is?
Parking lot blower.
Yeah,
Three-wheel.
yep, three-wheel
It's
blower.
a great big fan.
Yeah, this is, I believe, a 14 horse Hyundai motor on it.
You had one, didn't you, Scott? I just remembered you seen it through your yard with it.
So,
They used to.
so for our portion would be 441, or else it's gotta wait to go back to theirs and see if they wanna make the difference up next month.
Billy Goat Model F. That's a great name.
F1302.
So, they really need to use this thing effectively. It's a good tool, but
And that's the reason I think we pushed it up to the self-propelled unit, right? Because I was afraid that if we didn't have a self-propelled unit, it'll beat the tar out of the maintenance guys without it. I'm gonna be
well,
honest.
theoretically, it should be our part-time and Don, or both our part-timer guys should be using this the
Right,
most.
and,
Because they're busy enough with it.
70 for part-time
Yeah.
guys, 60, I'm not sure exactly, but. So,
Yeah.
and our next one may be 65 plus, you know.
Could be 20.
So of that, the town's how much?
$441. So they approved 2,700. The total price with the swivel wheel and the self-propelled is $3,141.
I'll make a motion to chip in $441 to the park board for your Billy Goat.
I'd second that.
Got a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Greg? Scott? Andy? Brian? And I'm an aye as well. All right.
Expensive, right?
It is expensive night.
Can't believe the swivel wheel's $300, but okay.
That's the kit, 300. Cedar Creek Township. Scott?
Good evening. Members of the board, I wanted to give you an update tonight. Unfortunately, we were unable to have a Cedar Creek Township board meeting before this meeting, but I did speak to all members of the board. Cedar Creek has turned over the fire FEMA fund in full last Tuesday to the fire chief on August 13th. After speaking with each of the Cedar Creek Township board members, 2 of the 3 of them do not want any more money turned over at this time. They feel with the IRS penalty still a concern. Plus, Nick Jordan, the county auditor, ordered an audit by the State Board of Accounts, which we gladly welcome, which he has stopped into the office and started. In fact, I personally asked for an audit at the beginning of 2023 and was told by the State Board of Accounts, no, they didn't have time for it at that point. We have not put this to a board vote yet, but it's on the agenda for our next meeting, which is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday. That's the update I have at this point.
And then, last meeting, you were waiting on some audit or something, is that correct?
We did get the fund
Oh,
balances.
you did?
I did
Okay.
receive those. Since then, I got the fund balances and
You
then
just need the meeting.
then the State Board of Accounts, started their audit. So, which that will last, I'm guessing, a couple months. So they're auditing all of 21, 22, and 23. So.
So where's that put you then?
What's that?
Where's that put you guys at?
As in,
Well, I mean, the last meeting you talked, when that numbers come in, and you guys would have a meeting, figure it out, and balance check, it sounded like.
yeah, according to, I've only polled the board members. We haven't voted.
No, I'm just asking, I mean, is that still the plan, or has it changed?
We'll put it to a vote on Tuesday. So,
But based on your straw poll, from what I've just gathered,
Was no.
it's a
two,
no.
2 of the 3 were no. That's correct. So, until we get through the audit, until we get through the IRS penalties, 2 of the 3 of the board members are no.
Scott, I just got a couple extra questions here, I guess, and then if these guys have any extra questions to you, that's fine too. Over the last, I'd say the last 48 to 72 hours, we've been handed a lot of information, pulled a lot of information. One of the things that you stated last meeting is that you were being penalized or fined for unpaid 941s.
Correct.
I just so happen to have in front of me the 941s. Were filed incomplete through 22, which is what you said you hadn't been paid was 2022. And they were paid. And actually it shows you guys have a credit on the account of $124,000 that was paid this year, according to that.
I don't know what you're looking at, so.
Would you like to review?
Sure. This letter, I'm guessing I gave you.
Yeah, it's a copy of the. I just wanted to make sure we're clear that
The 941s that we filed, what was that? Probably, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago. We paid taxes on the 941s, period. They were, I don't know, roughly 1,200, 1,300, 4,000, I don't remember the exact amounts, but I can get them for you.
okay. The other thing in Gateway, I see a payment to the Allen County Treasurer's Office of $2.4 million. Do we know what, I mean, we tried to find it in the balance, all it says is, in the Gateway computer, it says 2,400,000 and some odd for 2023. Do we know what that payment was made for by any chance? I mean, that seems like it should have been turned over to, a partial turnover of the funds, I guess, that's my question. Is that what that was for?
For 2.4 million. I didn't make a payment for 2.4 million.
Your document in 2023 says you did. I can find it real quick.
I did not make a payment for $2.4 million to anyone.
I had it highlighted here because I lost it now. Give me a second. Sorry to get in the weeds, but as we're trying to make sure that our dollars are truly accounted for and have been moved over like we've asked as part of the dissolution agreement that we all signed when the territory ended, including Cedar Creek Township, it clearly states in there that our funds will be turned over as well as Springfield, Scipio, Grable, and yours. And to my understanding, that's not happening. So that's breach of contract with the dissolution agreement.
Okay. I mean, I have not, I'm reading you the update that I have, Tyler.
I understand that. I'm just saying, I want to make sure that you're aware that the contract that you signed with us is breach. That everybody signed is in breach by not turning those funds over.
Okay.
Okay,
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
okay.
I do not have any of these copies. If you'd like to give me a copy of them, I'll be glad.
I'd happy to give you a copy of that.
I'll be glad to turn them into my accountant first thing in the morning.
Okay.
So I do not know what the 2.4975772, I have no idea what that is. No clue whatsoever. Because I can tell you that we have not written a check for $2.4 million.
Okay.
So, I give that up to you. And if you would like to make me a copy.
Yeah, we can get you a copy of that.
I'll be glad to take those. And I will call my attorney in the morning and say that I don't,
I mean, do you guys have a copy of the dissolution agreement of the ending of the
I
territory?
don't have it current, I mean.
No, I'm saying you guys have a
I'm
copy,
sure,
okay,
yes.
you have a copy somewhere, okay,
Sure.
it was brought to my attention in dealing with the other towns and townships that, you know, they sent me a copy of it, and it shows us all signed the dissolution agreement and to create the district. And then as part of that, it's the dissolution agreement says that you're gonna transfer our funds, the funds we paid in over,
Right,
as well as their funds. And that hasn't happened yet,
correct.
okay?
Right.
So, I'm just trying to get a timeline established that this is gonna occur.
Do you have a date of that signature?
I'd have to go back and get it, I don't have it on me, so I can pull it, yes.
And we are supposed to have a board meeting on Tuesday, so I will bring this all to my board.
Okay,
So, I want you all to understand this is not a vote on me. This is a vote on the board. This has nothing to do with me. I don't control the vote.
I understand,
don't have a
I'm
vote.
not blaming, we're all individuals and we all make it, vote how we feel, see fit, that's best for our community. And like I said, we've been doing some digging and trying to figure out, what monies are there and what's not being transferred and why it's not being transferred.
The 2.4 million, I have no clue what that is. I'll dig into that, but I have not written a check. We have not written a check. The township has not written a check for
I pulled it out of your annual report for this year.
Okay, so the annual report is not right, just so you know. And the state board of accounts is the one that told us to upload what Kendra had put in the Tom's web, knowing it wasn't correct, and once we finished the Excel spreadsheet, then we can correct it. They left it open. And the auditor that is working with us, the state board of accounts guy, is aware of that as well.
All right.
So, but I'll be glad to take copies of those and hand those over because the 941s that we filed, I don't have them in front of me, but I believe it was for quarter 2 for
Of 22 or of when?
22.
Okay.
I have to go back and look. And we didn't, and 22 was before my time, so we only filed we only fixed what was filed incorrectly in 22.
All right.
So, and then quarter 4 for 23 was when the
Yeah, I show that being paid.
territory was to the district and we took care of that one as well. There was no penalties on that. Really.
Yeah.
So you're showing that's all 941s or whatever that is current, Tyler?
Yeah, they're all.
Actually, we're showing a count, so they're showing a balance of
So,
net of $124,000.
so that being said though, the 124,000 that you're showing, right? According to the accountant, was the IRS is showing the credit for whatever that is, 124,000. They had no
121,000.
941s to go with it, which was what we had to file so they could put them That's why we hadn't been penalized, because the money was sitting there, but the forms had not been filed, is what he,
So the 941 form had not been filed, not the taxes had not been paid.
correct.
Which is where, in my understanding of reading the law, that's where your penalties is at. So there's a very slight penalty for not having the paperwork turned in. There's a larger penalty for not having the taxes paid.
So, and I believe that the money was paid. Well,
Yeah.
I know the money was paid, but the forms weren't, so they were sitting in the bank, but not, there
Okay.
was nothing.
I think that's where our confusion came, because when you said that the 941s hadn't been paid in 2022,
No, I said they hadn't been filed.
I believe we have it differently. So, all right,
So, but I will bring the dissolution to the board as well on
Yeah.
Tuesday.
and I'll try to get you guys a copy here.
That's fine.
Is the fireman now able to do their tax returns to either one of you know?
So Troy asked me that last night. I did put a call into the accountant today because I do not know what the issue is.
She's offered to help you and she knows what to do. I don't know why
So
you guys won't take her up on it.
What she brought up, we did take care of. There's something.
I don't
else.
know what needs to be done. I don't have a dang clue. I just know we have a lot of young guys that can't get a return.
So Troy told me last night, it's the guys that get a refund that are not getting paid.
That's correct.
And I do not know why. I do not know what that's about.
And
So,
that was turned over to the tax.
and so I called the accountant to ask him that. He did not call me back today.
Can we get on that? Because I mean, there's a lot of young new fathers.
Absolutely.
And
I
I don't have a clue what it is.
And
Don't
I-
care.
And I agree with you. I did call him
Yeah.
twice today.
All right.
So
I
I will call
appreciate
him
that.
again. But what they referenced with Angela, we took care of the very next day.
Did you have any more input on this? The way we can get those guys' returns quicker? Forget whatever else is going on. These are young
I'll be
firemen.
glad to work with anybody
Yeah,
on the
I
guys
don't-
with returns. I don't know what the problem is.
Well, clearly I don't either, but do you have any more input? Maybe,
Not without looking at
The
the
SB.
stuff. And if they've got accountants working on it, I mean, I would be no different.
But I will gladly call him. I called him twice today and he did not call me back.
And I called yesterday.
I know, that's all we can do is try. I just hate to see these guys, you know, they're already working short-staffed. You heard in the meeting, we can't make entry on fires because we don't have personnel. And then that's business. This is these guys' home life that we
And
don't.
I agree with you
Yeah.
and understand that. So I will again get to the bottom of it. I don't know what the problem is. Troy didn't know what the problem is. So he told me all the information he had last night and I told him I would take it to the accountant, which is what I did. And I did not get a call back.
I don't even know, yeah.
I will call again
Yeah,
tomorrow.
thank you.
And I told Troy that as soon as I had an answer, I would get with the chief. So,
That's all I got.
all right. And then Tyler, to answer your dissolution, I will take that to my board. And then if you get me copies of those, I will.
Yep, I'll get you copies of this tonight, and I'll try to find that dissolution paperwork here. If you guys, a couple minutes, stick around, we'll
Yep.
try to pull that, get it to you.
So, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
I am actively working on trying to figure out the rest of this, and the state board of accounts is too. So,
All right. Anybody else have any questions? All right. On any public comment? All right. So our next meeting is September 3rd, 2024 at 5 p.m. And then the upcoming meeting is Park Board, September 9th, Planning Commission at 5, Planning Commission at 6, Board of Zoning Appeals at 7 as needed, and then Stormwater Board is September 11th. Any other business? Hearing none, meeting adjourned. Thank you.